Good evening, Bahamas. This is NB12 broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Here's what's making news tonight. Bacteria at the Princess Margaret Hospital kills at least 2 babies, and officials now investigating. Bahamar no longer offering separation packages. The PLP ratifies its North Abaco candidate. The London Olympic Games open tonight. We'll tell you what the Bahamian athletes are up to. Plus, some autistic kids get a fun closing out ceremony at their summer camp. We've got those stories and much more. I'm Nakia DeVoe, and NB12 starts right now. Thanks again for joining us here at NB12. A bacterial outbreak has already claimed the lives of 2 infants who were in the neonatal intensive care unit at Princess Margaret Hospital, and the government has launched an investigation into how this could have happened, particularly after the same bacteria killed other babies at PMH nearly 2 decades ago. Paige McCartney reports.
The infection, called the Acinetobacter baumannii, was contained to the neonatal intensive care unit. According to the PHA, 8 babies were found to be infected with the bacteria after all in the NICU were tested. The PHA hasn't revealed any further details except to say that the remaining 6 babies who tested positive for the bacteria are on antibiotic treatment and are well. There was a similar outbreak of the bacterial infection in the Bahamas in 1996, when at the time there were also 8 babies infected and 3 babies died. The results of air tests found that the infections occurred more frequently after the installation of a new air conditioner at PMH in May 1995. Former Minister of Health under the Ingram administration, Dr. Hubert Minnis, raised the matter in Parliament Wednesday, calling for an investigation. He's convinced the PHA would not have sent out a statement today had he not raised the issue when he did. When contacted by our news team today, Minister of Health Dr. Perry Gomez confirmed that the infection started 3 to 4 weeks ago, but only just made the revelation because the ministry was awaiting a report following an investigation. However, he told our news team that he was not satisfied that all had been done to stop the spread of the bacterial infection, because he said the ministry should have been notified by the hospital about the outbreak much earlier. Acinetobacter baumannii bacteria can cause serious infections in the lungs, blood, brain, and urinary tract that includes the kidneys, urethra, and bladder. It is considered very contagious and is also hard to treat because the bacterial infection can change, making it harder to kill with antibiotics. An infection can cause pneumonia and meningitis, and symptoms include fever, red or swollen wounds, cough, chest pain, trouble breathing, and a burning sensation when urinating. The statement from the PHA said that Acinetobacter baumannii bacteria are also known to occur in hospitals worldwide and usually occur in premature infants whose immune systems have not developed fully. For NB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
Bahamar and the union representing its employees appear to be at odds over early retirement and voluntary separation packages offered to workers at the Wyndham Nassau Resort and Crystal Palace Casino last week. The Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union expressed outrage after those packages were offered, saying it raised questions of job security. However, after meeting with Prime Minister Perry Christie and Bahamar representatives, the hotel union announced that the developer had agreed to take the offer of packages off the table, while a senior executive at Bahamar says that's not so. Vonig Toot explains.
On July 16th, Bahamar offered workers at the Wyndham Nassau Resort and Crystal Palace Casino early retirement and voluntary separation packages. However, there appears to be some confusion over whether those VSPs are still being offered. Bahamar's Senior Vice President of Government and External Affairs, Robert Sands, says nothing has changed since the developer made the announcement last week Monday. However, General Secretary of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Darren Wood, says that's not so. He told NB12 that after the two sides met with Prime Minister Perry Christie last week, Bahamar agreed that it would no longer be offering packages.
No, the package thing is off the table, first and foremost, there was no agreement with the union, or any discussion, I should say, with the union to even talk about packages or closure per se. And our industrial agreement provides for us that states that we are the sole bargaining agent for those people. So if anything is going to happen to them, we should be contacted for it. So of course we can analyze it, look at it, and see the full impact that would happen to them. And that wasn't discussed with us, so of course we told them it can't happen.
The Wyndham Nassau Resort and Crystal Palace Casino has more than 1,000 employees. Bahamar officials said last week that the early retirement and voluntary separation plan was being offered to give workers maximum control over their personal career decisions, as the resort prepares for a period of construction and reduced occupancy. The resort will be closed from September 4th to October 17th. Wood says only 11 employees from the food and beverage and housekeeping department will receive packages. The General Secretary says one of those workers has health issues. The other 10 are near retirement age.
The criteria that we put in place would have been persons who are close to retirement and who don't have commitments. And there were about 11, or who have physical challenges. And there were about 11 persons who were interested in it. But for those persons, we were able to improve the package that was being offered, because originally they were only offering whatever their entitlements were. So we were able to increase it in some instances by an additional $3,000 based on the area that they would have fallen in.
Bahamar's senior vice president is questioning how the hotel union arrived at that figure. He says employees who are interested in moving on still have just over 2 weeks to apply for the VSPs. Sands could not say how many workers have applied so far, but insisted that the number is higher than 11. This is news to Woods, who says the majority of his members plan to return to work when the resort reopens in October. In fact, he says employees were alarmed when Bahamar offered packages last week.
Because a lot of people say, listen, I don't want to go nowhere. And the thing about it, when you look at offering packages to persons who would be over 40, over 45, once they would have left it in this industry, where would they go to work? The chances of them being hired at 45, between 40, 43 and 50 is very slim. And there are no jobs per se out there, even though there's talk about creation of jobs going forward, but that is to come. When you look at persons coming out of school, they now have to compete with the persons coming out of school, persons coming back from colleges, and whatever have you.
Hotel Union and Bahamar officials will meet again before the Wyndham closes in September. Reporting for NB12, I'm Voinik Toot.
And in other news, 3 days after the Free National Movement ratified Greg Gomez as its candidate for the North Abaco by-election, the Progressive Liberal Party last night once again gave the nod to Renato Curry, who was the party's candidate for the May 7th general election. Kendia Dames was at the PLP headquarters last night. She gives us all the details in this report.
Election fever has once again gripped the PLP, though obviously not on the scale of the recent general election. Prime Minister Perry Christie was enthusiastic as he presented Curry to an excited crowd of PLP supporters last night.
This North Abaco seat will be coming home. They have chosen to run against me. It's not only a friend of the family, but also happens to be my wife's first cousin. I spent the last few days contemplating on how to deal with such a man. It reminded me of the words of the prophecy in the Holy Book that says, mine own familiar friend have lifted up his heel against me. But I've come to accept the fact that in war there are casualties.
Speaking to NB12 after the council meeting last night, Curry continued to express confidence that North Abaco will indeed become a PLP seat, adding to the 29 seats the PLP already has in the House of Assembly.
I was running against the then Prime Minister of the country. A lot of people were loyal to him as the Prime Minister, but being that he's retired, he's retiring as of August the 31st. I think people are going to understand that now the PLP is the government. I'm on that ticket as the PLP candidate, and what I will do is fight my very best to make sure that we get the things that we need.
Curry said job creation for the young people of North Abaco would be his priority as he seeks to attract more investors. Prime Minister Christie said Curry is a part of a team of dynamic and visionary young leaders presented by the PLP in the 2012 campaign.
Mr. Curry is going to make an outstanding candidate. He's truly one with a great reputation in the North Abaco constituency. He evolved as an articulate spokesperson for Abaco. He has a vision for Abaco. He has, it is interesting, he came to the meeting of the candidates committee this evening with his wife and his 2 kids, and it was a wonderful setting. He brought quite a number of persons with him from the constituency who all have come down to indicate that Hubert Ingram had a lot of personal support and that they believe on a real considered basis that that personal support is not transferable to another candidate.
Former Prime Minister Ingram won the seat 8 consecutive times, twice as a PLP, once as an independent, and 5 times as an F&M.
Of course, it's unclear at this point exactly when the by-election will be in North Abaco, as Ingram's resignation from the House does not take effect until August 31st. However, the campaigns are expected to be in full swing long before then. Reporting from PLP headquarters for NB12, I'm Candia Dames.